What is up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty damn good.
Man, what's up, Rock Podcast Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Rock Podcast Nation, the Right of Center podcast with yours truly at Real Mike Bell and our self-described guest host, Ryan Gass, the band,
going on, man?
the one and only band, Mr. Gas. Whoa, what is all that sounds? What's
Holy
going on? Is that
shit.
you over there?
Yeah,
Something
it
was
is.
blowing up over here, man.
Yeah,
It hit the silent on that, but guys, welcome back. This is the Right of Center podcast. You guys already know that. You found us. You're listening. We appreciate you. Without you, there is no us. So we thank you. And
What were we? What were we before the podcast?
well,
Nothing.
we were still Right of Center. We've always been Right of Center.
But we were in the closet. Now we're out.
I guess we're out of the closet.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Aka! You know what? I actually have that one on here somewhere, man. Where is it? I know I got that on here somewhere. You gotta give me a second, guys. Did I miss it? Oh man, I missed it. I missed it. Dang it! Oh wait, here we go. Oh, got it.
Surprise, motherfucker.
French fries, motherfucker.
French fries.
You ever seen that one? Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Ryan, how you doing today, man? You coming in here? You look like you're dressed up. Those of you guys watching on the live stream, you can't see. He's got the what are those? The Stacey Adams shoes. What are you wearing over there, man?
I don't
You're
know.
looking nice, man. Hold on.
Fly.
Oh man, looking good. You know what? You know the one thing missing though. This. What is all that? What's going on
I
over
don't
here?
know. Someone's on my live stream.
The one thing missing is something I adopted for work because I've all those years building houses, working in the industry and all that stuff. I always just was like a jeans guy in a t-shirt or a shorts guy in a t-shirt, right? But in the job I have now, you can't really walk into like an executive office jeans and a t-shirt, right?
Right.
So I always keep a sports jacket hanging up.
Yeah.
So you could be like the jeans and a sports jacket guy and like pull it off. You know what I'm saying?
You have like a PTP t-shirt underneath and just sports jacket. Now it just changed
now,
everything.
now I'm set, right? That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So the sports jacket, that's the only thing you're missing. We got to get you set up with the sports
I'll
jacket.
figure that out.
I tell you, this time of year, you can go to like JCPenney's or anything like that, and they're always on sale because it's hot as hell outside.
Yeah,
Nobody's
no one's
wearing them.
wearing
Dude, it's the ticket, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of hot as hell, man, today was so busy. I had to try to work. Oh, so we're coming up on the 4-day weekend, guys, right? As you guys know, the guys who listen to the podcast, you'll know this will come out a little bit later. We record tonight. It'll come out sometime over the next 7 days. But I was working. We're coming up on the 4-day weekend because I have tomorrow off and Monday off, plus the weekend. And I was trying to get all this stuff done. I had to go out of county today for work. I had to go up near the DC area to pick some stuff up.
For work?
Yeah, for work.
Okay.
And then I got back and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at meetings and I know I got to cut my grass and I know we got the podcast tonight.
Gotta cut
I was
that
like,
grass.
all right, where can I fit the time in real quick? All right. So I saw like this little gap between meetings and I was like, all right, let me put in a little bit of leave. Let me jump out real quick and cut the grass. Dude, I was sweating my ass off. This summer, it's upon us.
Do you have a push mower? Or
I have a push mower.
Yeah.
You've seen my grass, dude. I
Yeah.
only rock the push mower.
Whenever I'm leaving here after the podcast every night, he will not let me touch that grass, and I purposely touch it. Just
Yeah, I'm kind of a lawn care like fanatic, right? But I have a mullet lawn. That's what they call it. So it's business in the front and party in the back.
Yeah.
So the front's all nice. It's striped. I take care of it like immaculately. You see it. Listen,
Yeah.
it's a good looking lawn, right? But the backyard is like weeds and dog shit, and the dogs run around, and the kids play back there. There's a trampoline. It's a mess. It's a mullet, right? It's business in the front, party in the back. But yeah, man, it's hot as hell outside. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can pull off wearing the long sleeve shirt and all that stuff when it's this hot outside.
today was a chill day. Today I was inside messing with the YouTube and driving around, knocking on errands. So
Yeah.
I got a rental car that actually has AC that works. So
Where's your truck at?
out front.
Is it?
Yeah.
But you had a rental
my
car
truck.
today?
No, my truck. Oh, because Anyway, no, my truck's in the body shop. Somebody sideswiped me at a parking lot in a hotel and didn't leave a note or anything. And there's no cameras, so. But nonetheless, it's from on the passenger side. It's from tail light to headlight, and the headlight itself included $7,000 in damage.
Man.
Yeah.
Hey. Another reason why you have insurance, right? And that insurance is, and it kind of just leads right into what I kind of wanted to talk about today. So, hey guys, real quick, if you're watching this anywhere, please hit that share button. All right. Let people know we are trying to grow this beast. And without you, like we said, without you, there is no us. So please hit that share button, guys. Also, I know there's not a lot of people watching right now, but we do plan on opening the phones up tonight because I want to try to find out what you guys think about the stuff that we're talking about. And we'll post that up here very shortly. But, insurance, right? We've spoken about COVID-19 in the past, and we've talked about the vaccine, and is the vaccine worth it? Is it not worth it? This and that, right? And one of the ways in which I've kind of pitched it to you to an extent is it's kind of a form of insurance. 99.9% of the time, Ryan, you're going to park your truck in the parking lot. It's not going to get hit, right? You're going to come out. You're going to get in your truck. You're going to go on your way. No big deal. But that 0.01% of the time, like what just happened the other day, you got struck.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how COVID has been, right? It's like that very minute chance, but it might happen.
Well, I will say though, difference though is, yeah, no shit, I have insurance on my truck. It's a very expensive truck. I need it for work and all that stuff. But alternatively, I also have my old Jeep I've had for years. I'm the second owner. My grandfather had it. It's a 91 Jeep Wrangler YJ. And I haven't got to drive it the last couple of years and stuff. Just not even tagged. I don't even know if it's insured. I don't think it's insured because it's not worth it. I mean, it's not very likely that someone's going to steal it, right? It's a rust bucket. It doesn't even run, nothing like that. And if for some reason someone stole it or it burst into flames, it's not. What I would get from insurance is not worth what I'll be paying for insurance for all these months and years and stuff. That's the difference. Much like my Jeep, COVID, it's not very likely that I'm going to be infected. And the likeliness that I'm going to get infected and actually die or be seriously ill is even less. So the insurance is not worth the risk.
That kind of makes sense. But your Jeep, you said you have insurance on your work truck.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not just your work truck. It's your daily driver,
yeah,
right?
Everything.
Bebop around. It's a really nice truck Ryan has. You guys have probably, if you live in the tri-state area, you've seen that truck driving around.
Yeah.
But your life is worth more than that truck. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah, no, there's no yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, your life is worth more. Your kids depend on you. Your wife depends on you. You employ people. They depend on you.
The risk is not worth the benefit though, because I can get that COVID shot and I can, and there are people that get sick, that have complications, all that stuff. The risk is not worth the reward. The risk of paying money to an insurance company is not worth the reward of, even if I have to use it, is it really going to be worth it?
On the Jeep.
Yeah, on the Jeep. Yeah, same thing though. I'm saying I could get this shot and it may do nothing for me, good or bad or indifferent. I could not get the shot. And I could still have nothing good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really affect me either way, good, bad, or indifferent.
Sure, but you understand kind of my analogy, right? It's an insurance, right? It's the same reason that we give our kids shots against, like, all the other vaccinations and stuff. And I know, Amy, if you're listening, we've had Amy Thompson on the show before. That's a great episode. I don't remember what episode number it was, but if you are ever concerned about vaccines, the history of vaccines, the experimentation of vaccines, how vaccines get qualified in the United States, different things like that, I encourage you to go back in time and find that episode. It's titled, "Are Vaccines Making Us Sicker?" Right? And it's with a guest host, Amy Thompson. And we plan on having Amy back on to talk about GMOs and other stuff like that. You know what I just noticed, Ryan?
Was that?
On the live stream here, it's only got my name on it. I don't know why. It should be Rock Podcast Nation, but let me just drop that off. But no, the insurance thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, if you go back in time to like March, okay? March of 2020, all right? 15 months ago, when COVID was spooky, right? When everybody was kind of spooked out.
Man.
Everyone was kind of spooked out about this. If there was already a vaccine there then, would you have taken it?
No. Fuck no. Even less of even more so of a no. Even less of a yes.
Really?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. It's still.
Remember, we're live streaming here.
Sorry,
so
I'm sorry. But even today, the FDA still has not yet approved that. It's not a vaccine yet.
Yeah, it's a vaccine,
experiment.
but it's not. It
a
only
mass
has
experiment.
emergency use authorization instead of
Exactly.
the full FDA approval.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, the question I'm asking is this, and I'm going to do a Ryan. All right.
Yeah.
Would you say that you were more afraid of COVID in March of 2020 than you are today?
Yeah.
You're on record saying yeah. You've already said yeah. I mean, everybody was kind of panicking about that stuff, right?
It's more because the shit we didn't know.
Yeah,
the lack of experience.
But what if there was a vaccine that was already FDA approved back then, and they're like, oh shit, here came this weird strain of the flu that we all knew. We had the foresight to predict that this was coming, and now here is a vaccine that if you take this, you don't got to worry about it.
I'm a firm believer in letting other people be the experiment.
That's fine.
And time will tell and stuff. Like the time that we don't have enough time for it to tell yet. Like I would say 3 or 4 years, then we have a solid idea of what the good, the bad, and the indifferent is of that vaccine. But
that's fine.
We're not there yet, and we wouldn't have been there. There's no way we would have been there back then too.
Well, I guess the strings that I'm trying to pull on here are this, Ryan. It's a matter of trust, okay? And back in March and actually November of 19, and then starting really in the United States around that January, February, March timeframe, right? When President Trump put the ban on travel from China and all these different travel bans in place, and then Fauci and the CDC and other people, I had never heard of Dr. Anthony Fauci before COVID. Have you?
I can't think that. I mean, I might have heard his name in passing, but it's nothing I recall.
I've never heard of him before.
Yeah, he's a nobody.
Right? But he was substantial in the work that he had done. And I think we'll get into this here in a minute, but it was trust, right? And at the time, people were kind of showing their ass a little bit. They were going out and buying all the toilet paper. They were doing all this other stuff, right? And it was like this kind of state of panic. And what do you do? It's like a kid who finds himself in like this dangerous situation. What do you do, right? You look to your parents. And I think what a lot of Americans did was they looked to scientific experts and said, hey, experts, should we worry? And if at that point in time, if the experts would have came out and said, no, you got nothing to worry about. We knew that this was coming. We already developed a vaccine years ago. It's already approved. Here, just go take this shot. You're good to go. Just like the flu shot, right? I think more people would have been in line. I think there are a lot of people today that are very similar to you. I think the statistic is somewhere around 53% of the population right now is like, probably not going to get the vaccine. No. I think it's like 30% say they're not going to get the vaccine. And 30% is a big number. It's not like it's 3%, right? There's a substantial amount, a third roughly, that are not really confident if they're going to get the vaccine or not. But I think that a lot of that is generated through propaganda and kind of fear of, COVID became politicized. It really did. It just so happens that when COVID kind of came about, it came about during an election year. That was already kind of...
That was convenient. That was very convenient.
Yeah. I mean, sure. And Ryan and I aren't really conspiracy theorists, but we like to pick apart conspiracies at times. And if you want to know more about that kind of stuff, you head over to rockpodcastnation.com, pledge your support. You get access to all of our super secret stuff.
Excuse me. Woo! Okay. So you know how all conspiracies start, right? As theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And off topic here, conspiracy isn't a bad word.
No.
It is
it's been demonized
it's been demonized.
But it's not bad.
No, there are conspiracies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If there weren't conspiracies, if there weren't conspiratorial people, there would be no conspiracies, and then there would be no conspiracy theories. And conspiracy theories are only theories until they're proven.
Right.
And just look at like Bernie Madoff, right? And all that other stuff, right? Everyone's like, well, it's a conspiracy theory. No, but guess what?
Well,
it's
you
true.
saw what conspiracy theory recently popped back up. The fact that it was developed possibly, which I believe, developed in a lab. And even Biden himself called for more investigations into that possibility.
That's right.
So it's gone from just a bunch of crazy righties, fucking Trumpers, excuse my language, that are thinking that it was just man-made and there's nothing to be scared about. now there's a little bit more meat on the bone. And actually, like, was it yesterday? Facebook actually, up until that point, if you were posting about that, they would ban you, or they would delete that post or whatever. They've also now just, as of yesterday, they changed their policy.
That's right.
So it's starting to be, who is the crazy conspiracy theorist now?
That's right. I'm actually going to pull that up on the screen and share it with you guys real quick. Now, we did post this in the Right of Center Conservative America Facebook group yesterday, but I want to go ahead and throw it up on here too. So essentially what you guys were seeing back in the day, Ryan, and you kind of jumped ahead of me a little bit. I didn't know. No, you're fine, because that's exactly where we were going. Yeah. I'm going to touch on this, and I'm going to try to bring the conversation back a little bit here. And for those of you guys listening, audio only, what I'm pulling up here is an article from the New York Post. Okay, it was released May 26th, so very recently, and it says Facebook reverses ban on posts claiming COVID-19 was man-made. And why this is significant is because so many people back in the day, Trump broke the story. You know what I mean? And not like he's a journalist or anything like that, but he had his suspicions, and he said, I'm not surprised if this wasn't invented by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, and this is a targeted attack against the Americans or against the planet. This thing was genetically created in a lab and was possibly inadvertently or advertently released into society, right? And what happened was everybody who said that, everybody who repeated that claim, those posts were taken down off Facebook. They were fact checked. Ryan, I know for sure you had some posts over there on at Ryan R. Gas when you were talking about this stuff that were getting pulled down.
Oh yeah,
right. We've talked about
That's
it.
Probably part of the reason why I've been banned.
One of the very first. All right, I'm going to actually pull this down off the screen real quick, guys, because we're tired of looking at it. But
that's probably one of the banned.
No, check this out. Check this out, Rock Podcast Nation. When Ryan and I first started doing this podcast, we did 10, 15 episodes without video, without anything like that, right? And when we started to kind of decide if we wanted to start doing the video thing, because this is a podcast, and we're adding in different elements so that we could reach more users. So we started the YouTube, we started the live stream that we're doing right now. But when we wanted to investigate whether or not it would be value added to our listener base to add a video companion, we brought in our current videographer, and he recorded an episode called COVID Crazy. And in COVID Crazy, we talked about a lot of this stuff. And guess what, Ryan? What happened to that video?
Got pulled down.
It got pulled down by YouTube.
That was our very first video.
It was, but it's never been posted.
Yeah.
Right? It was a trial that Che was doing. He's like, hey, what do you guys think about this, right? But no, that video, Che, our video guy, he never even posted it. It was private. It was
unlisted.
Unlisted video that he produced and then uploaded to his YouTube account, unlisted, and then shared the link with Ryan and I to go in and review it. Yep, private. It was removed from his unlisted YouTube account.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was back then. And guys, that was only last week of February, first week of March.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yep.
Of this year of 2021. Mm-hmm. And we're like right there. We're like, okay, people are paying attention, right? We need to be kind of careful about the stuff that we say on the podcast, because we don't want to be taken down, right? And at that point, we were still kind of getting our feet wet, figuring out the different avenues and delivery methods to get the content out to you guys. But going back to this article here, I'll pull it up again, guys. Back then, what was happening was if you posted anything about COVID that ran anything about this is a man-made virus, this or that, it was immediately pulled down by Facebook. I have friends that continued to try to push this story that were then banned from Facebook, right? This was crazy. You couldn't make a YouTube video and talk about it, or else it would be pulled down. This is censorship at the highest level. And it's really is unfortunate. It kind of pisses me off, dude, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? This is nope, we're not gonna believe the President of the United States. You know what I'm saying? The guy who sits in the room and listens to all these people and has these theories presented to him and then asked to do investigations and all this other stuff, right? We're not going to believe him. We're going to censor that. We're going to censor anybody else that says anything about it.
We also, along these same lines too, did you see, it was from Project Veritas. Project Veritas broke a story this week regarding Facebook. And are you familiar with Project Veritas?
I am. Yep.
So more or less, they expose a lot of corruption and whatnot within the media and in this particular story in social media. And long story short, Facebook has obviously many algorithms and whatnot that helps them do what they're trying to do and achieve what they're trying to achieve and push the agenda they're trying to push. And part of this story that he broke was it was exposed that Facebook has an algorithm which will gauge how vaccine hesitant a user is and also their posts are. Yep. And if you are ranked as being someone that is vaccine hesitant, that's the term, and it's shortened by VH. If you have a high VH score, then your post, your channel, your page, your everything, even your comments on someone else's post, they are more or less shadow banned. They are put farther and farther down. They make it very hard for anyone to see, even searching for it, seeing whatever you're posting, saying, commenting at all. And that's just another form of censorship. Could you imagine? And at one point we had this, but we didn't know what we had until it was gone. But could you imagine going back to a world where there isn't censorship, where you can actually post what you want to post, where everyone has a freedom of speech and where everyone is, welcome to say whatever they like and be viewed just the same? Could you imagine going back to that? It's crazy. I mean,
no. So I can imagine it, but I could also see a lot of risk in that.
Why?
And it's not that I'm, super like pro censorship or anything like that. All right. This is going to take a minute to explain. Let me go ahead and pull this down. Guys, what you're seeing there on the screen, and for the guys audio only, again, this is just kind of touching on what Ryan was talking about. Project Veritas exposes how Facebook shuts down COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy. It limits the page and all that other stuff. Well, there it is. There's a link. You can just find it on Washington Times. Literally, you can just Google, Project Veritas vaccine resistance, and you'll be able to find that, guys. It's super simple to pull up. All right, so here's the thing, man. You're asking me about living in a world where you could post whatever you want, say whatever you want without any fear of censorship.
Yeah.
There's a problem with that.
Why?
So we've talked about this in other episodes, Ryan. And what it kind of boils down to is this, man. There is no gatekeeper anymore. And that's kind of serving us a little bit. It's serving people, especially in the podcast industry, because we could come out and we could get our voice out without having to worry about running it through an editor or any kind of producer first or anything like that. Now, sure, the platforms that we're on, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, different things like that, they can, occasionally pull our information, pull our podcast content, and can review that, and then based on what their results of that, inquiry are, they could choose to ban us or not from those platforms. That's why Ryan and I are pretty careful not to go down too many conspiracy rabbit holes, at least on the free show. We do some of that stuff over on the premium stuff over on rockpodcastnation.com. But in general, in life, in America right now, with the advent of all of these free websites you could just sign up for, right? You could write all the articles, all the blogs you want. You could share those blogs to Facebook or to Twitter or Instagram like that. And if you're spreading misinformation or disinformation and stuff like that, I truly do believe that there should be a gatekeeper. Somebody needs to be saying, whoa.
There should be a gatekeeper. Why? Because it's free?
No.
Because if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. We are the product.
Yeah, that's not. Let me finish. It's not really what I was getting at. There are people who slurp up the proverbial excrement of through using confirmation bias of people intending to manipulate society. We saw that with the Russian bots. There are thousands. This has all been proven. Tens of thousands of Russian bots, Chinese bots, all these other near-peer adversaries across the planet right now that are strictly targeting the most influential among us.
Facebook's doing that on the whole to all of us.
Finish here. When we can't filter that stuff out, when we can't stop that, what it does is it is an intellectual contagion for our people, for the United States citizenry. If there's no way to filter that out, then we are effectively allowing another country to influence us. Follow me, okay? It happened in the 2016 elections. It happened in the 2020 elections. It's happening through our advertisement in this United States, right? There are 6 main companies that own all of the news industry. And if you are a Chinese or a Russian or somebody else who has any interest at all in weakening the United States, what you do is you buy up all of that ad space on those news agencies, and they begin to run all these different ads and all this other stuff. And before you know it, people are being influenced. There's a reason why advertising exists, right? And there's a reason why you and I advertise, because we want to get a very specific message out to people. And without having a gatekeeper to screen that information, you are psychologically manipulating the American people.
They are too. They are too. They're screening.
What do you mean? I want you to be very clear with what you mean when you say they are too.
Facebook. They are letting you see whatever they want you to see, whatever they agree with. Whether it is anti-gun shit, whether it's the left shit, whether it's we want you to believe that the vaccine's great and we don't want you to be hesitant at all.
No, that's
doing that shit
true.
Too. They are doing
true.
it.
And we covered that.
They're not non-biased. They are completely biased.
They are. But you're a product.
If Russia was trying to influence the elections to help Hillary Clinton or fucking, excuse my language, Biden win, then guess what? They wouldn't be doing. They wouldn't be filtering out those Russian bots. They are trying to meet the objective. It doesn't matter what countries are involved or anything like that.
Now, that is your opinion.
Am I wrong?
There's no proof to say that they are.
That they are what?
That they are actively in support of one party over another. I'm a right-of-center conservative. I'm
Do you think they are
non-biased? Let me finish.
Yeah.
Last 2 episodes, you beat me up with questions where I was in the middle of a point. The things that I click on through social media and the internet and things like that, it generally delivers the content that I want to see. The algorithm is working. It seems to be working in my favor, right? Because the stuff that I'm interested in, it shows up in front of me, right? The stuff that I'm not really interested in, it doesn't really show up. And it's based on your interactions, right? Now, I do believe that Facebook absolutely, and Twitter and other social media platforms absolutely censored Donald Trump, the president of the United States. That is, to me, it's like so wrong in so many ways. All right. That's a different episode. I believe that there should be a gatekeeper at some point, at some level, to screen out mis and disinformation.
I don't think so. I realize that there is a problem there, and I realized whatever, but again, that's why you have a freedom of speech.
Oh, and that's why you're a libertarian, dude, is because you believe on everybody's individual responsibility.
Yeah.
It is, at the end of the day, and you just kind of hit on this, right? If I don't like what Facebook shows me, I can not use Facebook.
Exactly.
If I don't like what CBS News shows me, I could watch Fox. You know, we have an individual liberty to choose what we consume, right? But they're so damn diabolical. They have figured it out. I mean, there are rooms full of PhD qualified people. I'm not talking about your medical doctors. I'm talking about PhD in click generation, all this other stuff. Super social media experts that are continuously trying to figure out how to get you more and more addicted to social media and news and different stuff like that, right? They're way smarter than you and I are, and they are actively working to make that happen. Right? You could always shut it off. You're right. And that is the very libertarian perspective, right? It's libertarian. You have a choice. You don't want to do it. Don't do it. It's same like you want to do heroin? Do heroin. Kill yourself. Yes. I don't care. It's your choice.
Yep.
And that is a very libertarian approach, right? And that's why, Ryan, you and I disagree on some stuff. I try to focus more on the strength of the community instead of the strength of the self on some things, right? And I don't have a problem paying taxes. This is where I pull real hard to the right if those taxes are going to things that are to better serve society, right?
So real quick, you said that we need a gatekeeper, and obviously Facebook has went from like little gatekeeper to fucking huge gatekeeper.
Watch your language.
I know. So do you think that with all the censorship that they've been putting on all of us, do you think that we are safer or more safe or less safe or a better society or a stronger society? Do you think that we are benefiting now more so than we were 6 years ago, let's say? There's been a lot. I've noticed a lot of changes. So you think we're better off than we were 6 years ago because of the changes made by Facebook and the censorship?
It's not really something I've measured. I know that there are certain people that are worse off than they were. Ryan, you're worse off. You're not worse off as a person.
No, yeah.
But your ability to
communicate
with your network is definitely worse off today than it was 6 years ago. But I also think as a nation, we are safer from near peer adversary threats, right? I think that the big three, right? Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have done a better job of removing what society thinks is dis and misinformation. But unfortunately, sometimes society gets it wrong. And I'm trying to bring it back here to what I wanted to talk about today, Ryan, is this. We have to trust, right? We have to trust people. We have to trust our leaders. We should be able to do that. And if we go back to like the March timeframe of last year, the things that we had to trust were Dr. Anthony Fauci and the CDC, right? And what has happened since then is there has been misinformation. The thing that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are supposed to be keeping from us, this mis and disinformation, they're actually doing the opposite, right? The story that we broke here at the very beginning of the episode, I'd like to see if I could pull that back up. Yeah, it's this guy, right? The COVID stuff. Back in the day, if you said that COVID-19 was man-made, you get banned because they titled that as mis or disinformation. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore, right? Fortunately, because we are now a smarter America, is they can't prove that it wasn't. And in fact, so Donald Trump initiated a commission to investigate the Wuhan lab where they believe COVID-19 leaked from, okay? They have tried to send people over there. They've tried to do a lot of stuff. And what we really have to work on now are Chinese language, artifacts written in the Chinese language that are then, we have Chinese people that talk about it and they say, oh yeah, there were these, 3 or so people that came down with COVID-19 that were working at the lab, and that is likely how it escaped. And during the Trump administration, he started this organization, this committee to investigate that. And as soon as Biden took office, he killed that, right? He said, no, we're not investigating it anymore.
And now he's resurrecting it.
And now he just resurrected it. You've had people like Rand Paul who have called Dr. Fauci up on into the House, into the Senate, right, to ask a bunch of questions to, right? Talking to him about this thing called gain of function. You know what gain of function is?
I've heard that phrase thrown about a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been paying attention, but I've heard it a lot last day or so. So what gain of function is this essentially, right? So if you look at the swine flu or the bird flu, the avian flu, right? Essentially what happens is there is a virus that originates in one genome, right? Like either the swine would be mammalian, or an avian, the bird flu, stuff like that. And then the parasites, the virus, if you will, adapts to a different host, right? And then it can start doing cross genome infection and different stuff like that. And we saw it with the swine flu. We saw it with the bird flu. And in order to kind of get ahead of that, what scientists often do is this stuff called gain of function research. And they take a virus that is pretty common in certain species,
and they try to figure out what it would take to get that thing to jump to the human, to jump to humans. That way they can start to create the antivirus before it's even a threat. Now, Anthony Fauci had spent, and this is all, I could spend some time and pull all this stuff up, guys. What I might do is put it down in the show notes for the podcast only, guys, so you guys can check it out. But there's a lot of links and there's a lot of research out there done right now where Anthony Fauci was sending money. Now, I'm just going to say it. Now, there's a path for this money to get there that is funneled from the National Institute for, Contagious Diseases, whatever the hell it is where Fauci works, right? There's a money trail that you could follow to go from there down to a university in the United States and then over to Wuhan. So Fauci, in some sense, was responsible for sending nearly $1 million. And it's not a lot of money, but over $1 million is a lot of money in China. They were sending that money through money avenues out to China to do this gain of function research on the SARS virus. And then in November, 3 people got sick in that lab. And then by January, it was around the planet. And Fauci, shortly after that, so if you go back to March, and this is what I wanted to talk about, man. It's the trust, right? In March, they were saying, guys, Fauci came out and said, don't wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. You don't need to wear a mask, right? You don't have to wear the mask. Save the masks for
those that need it.
Yeah, for those that need it. You don't need to wear the mask, right? That's what he said. And he said there's no reason to be walking around with the mask. That was in March 2020. He said that. And then in June, he discouraged mask wearing to conserve them for healthcare workers, qualifying that personal protective equipment were in very short supply. And then, so that's what he said in March of 2020. Do you remember, I'm going to puzzle your brain here a little bit and ask you a question. Do you remember what he said in January of 2021 about masks?
I think is that when I forget. I lose timelines, but was that when he was talking about like it wouldn't hurt to wear 2 or 3 or 4 masks?
Exactly right. In January of 2021, he said double masking makes common sense. It's more effective. So in the period of 9 months, right, from March to January, he went from you don't need to wear a mask,
2 masks. Common
now
sense.
wear 2 masks. Now, as a somebody who does science for a living. Ryan makes fun of me when I say I'm a scientist, right? But you form a hypothesis based on the information that you have, and until that you can prove that hypothesis is null, it doesn't work, right? And then you modify your hypothesis, right? And then once a hypothesis is proven, it becomes a theory. And then once a lot of people try to prove that theory wrong, and it holds weight and it's valuable, it becomes a fact, right? You have a hypothesis and then a theory and then a fact. Same thing with conspiracy. Conspiracy hypothesis, conspiracy theory, and then a conspiracy fact, right? But so at the time, like over the past year, I haven't really busted Fauci's knees too hard, right? I'm saying, the guy's a scientist. He's following the scientific method. He is working with the data that he has, and he's trying to deliver it to us as fast as he can to keep us informed. But what has happened is he's continuously misinformed society. He's continuously said that no, this was a cross species. It came from bat shit. Bats and this, and maybe people ate bats. That's how it got into the stream. But all right, in May of 2020, this was just a few days ago, Fauci told National Geographic, he said, "What's out there now is he is very, very strongly leaning toward this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated," right? That's what he was saying. He's saying, no, that was last year. He said it could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated. That's what he said in May of 2020. But this month, all right, he said, and he said this to, I can't find the source of it, Politico, that he is not convinced COVID-19 developed naturally outside of a Wuhan lab. All right. And that's as a report came out that 3 Wuhan lab workers were diagnosed with COVID-like symptoms just before the initial outbreak, the official outbreak. So it's a trust thing. All right. We were supposed to trust the CDC. We were supposed to trust Fauci. We were supposed to trust the people that are in power to give us the best information. But to me, it seems like Fauci has just continuously given us contradictory information. Was it right at the time? Based on the information that you had? Maybe. Right? But in a situation where you literally have millions of people around the planet dying, you have millions of people in the United States that are without work, that their businesses are being shut down, kids are missing school, the fucking mask mandate, excuse my language, all this other stuff. I'm going to need you to be a little bit more transparent. I'm going to need you to say, look, I'm not 100% on this, but and just to be safe, you should probably be wearing a mask. He should have said that back in March. Not, don't wear masks, even for the healthcare workers, right? And then in January, he shouldn't have came out and said you need to wear 2 masks. He should have said, guys, the stats are showing us that, masks are effective. If you're out, if you're practicing social distancing, if you're outside, don't worry about wearing a mask, right? Yep. He should have been consistent in his language. And what we're doing is we're not getting consistency from him. So what that leads me to finally, Ryan, we started off talking about the trust. I know we're coming up on a little over 40 minutes here. We're going to try to button this up, guys, is this. There is currently an act being pushed through the House right now that's called the FIRED Act. And I kind of want to laugh a little bit and think that it's a homage to President Trump. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? Like his show, The Apprentice.
Yeah.
But it's being pushed through the House by Representative Warren Davidson. He's a Republican from Ohio, and the act is called FIRED. Fauci Incompetence Requires Early Dismissal Act. Do you think it'll go through?
I don't think so, honestly.
I think that the left is abandoning Fauci.
You think so?
I do.
I hope so, but I don't think so.
I think the left is abandoning Fauci. And I actually had a stat pulled up.
Was there any on the left that have been expressing their support?
Give me a second. I want to try to find something for you, Ryan. I saw this somewhere that 52% of people are actually want to pull up this stat because this is kind of important. All right. And I know we're running up on time here, but I wanted to show you this. Okay. I want to show Rock Nation this also. Make sure I can get it added to the stream, guys. All right, so there is currently, this was released about a week ago, May 13th, 2021, all right? A poll finds public health has a trust problem, right? I don't trust them, says this Sandra Wallace. She's 60 and owns a construction company in Arizona. She doesn't trust the Centers for Disease Control. It's all over the board, she says. They say one thing 1 minute and then turn around and say another the next minute. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just showed you guys. I gave you dates. I gave you times. I gave you the information on where Fauci and the CDC has flip-flopped over this entire thing. Guys, if this was anybody else, if this was anything else happening where people were losing their lives, where people were losing their jobs, people were relapsing on alcohol and drugs, where people were leaving their wives, where people were experiencing bankruptcy, if this was anything else, you'd be calling for this man to, to be hung. You know what I'm saying? But we're not. Why?
Why do you think, his side topic, and this may be a conversation for another day, so let's write it down, but why did they ever get away from public hangings?
Well,
we haven't abandoned death penalty as a whole yet.
Yeah.
So why are we not doing public hangings still? Like, I think that we can all agree that that convicted pedophiles should be publicly hung, right? So why not? But we'll write it down. That's another day.
What I wanted to show the guys here on the stream, and for you guys listening on audio only, this is from NPR. It's a poll finds public health has a trust problem. Okay, and what I wanted to point out here is that even today, this was a week ago. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there is a 52% lack of trust. Or they trust them 52%. So half of the country trusts the CDC, the other half doesn't. But what I find interesting here, Ryan, is the lack of trust in general when it comes to healthcare providers. The DHHS, people only trust them 33%. The FDA, 37%, right? The National Institute of Health, 37%. Surgeon General, only 40%. People have a massive distrust in the healthcare organization.
Looks like there's 30 to 40% people who actually pay attention.
It could be that. It could be that. It could be that. But what's interesting there is that, so many people don't trust the CDC. Is it a result of what's happening with Fauci right now? And because he's lost the nation's trust, should he be removed? Should he be stopped from talking to people? That's the question I want to ask you. We're talking about disinformation, misinformation, not having a gatekeeper, all of that stuff. Do you think it's time for Fauci to face the gatekeeper?
Yes and no. So like, if I'm the government,
Because I know you're libertarian, and I know you think that everybody should be able to listen to whoever they want.
Yeah. No, but like, I would say that if I'm the government and I'm trying to achieve the goals that I think the government is trying to achieve, Fauci and his inconsistencies in his statements, words, actions, that has led to this. That's part of. He's not the only thing, but he's part of the reason of the distrust. And if you want to further your objectives and your agenda, if you're the government and you want to further those, you got to cut out the weak link, and he's the weakest link.
Well, I think you kind of, let me unpack what you just said a little bit, because I think you kind of said two things trying to say the same thing. All right. It's saying different. You're saying two things that have, related to two different things there. Okay. The government that is currently in office loved what Fauci did,
because he was promoting their agenda. But now he's hurting that. Now objective.
He's hurting their objective.
So
exactly.
now you got to cut it.
Now you got the government might cut it. But what I'm saying is, should he be? The government isn't necessarily the gatekeeper for Fauci. What I'm saying is, like, should Facebook censor Fauci for giving misinformation? Should Twitter censor Fauci for giving misinformation?
Yes, but will they? No.
Right. That's what I was asking.
They can't abandon their hero.
So that's what I'm saying here. So you're in favor of, and I'm not trying to trap you, walk you into a corner here, but you're in favor of Facebook and Twitter censorship of Fauci, but not for other people. Again, I'm not trying to back you into a corner.
Not personally, but like, what I'm trying to say is if I am Facebook, if I'm the U.S. government, if I'm this, and I'm trying to promote my agenda, he's hurting the agenda. He helped it at one point, but he's hurting.
But now he's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, right. If that's their objective, if that's their agenda, then he's hurting it. So,
guys,
as a person too, by the way, I think he should go in general, just because I don't like the guy. I think he's a bunch of bullshit. He's helped us drag into this. But no, as Facebook and the U.S. government, he's now hurting their objective.
Roger. No, I'm tracking.
Maybe he'll be a whistleblower. Maybe he will get cut loose, and he'll be like, well, they told me to do all this shit. They told me to say all this.
Yeah, I thought the same stuff was going to happen. All right, I'm going to give you a choice here, because we're coming up on 50 minutes here, man. But do you want to keep going on this, or?
I say we revisit this.
You want to revisit it?
I think we got too much to unpack and stuff.
Yeah,
we got a little bit of stuff to look into.
Yeah, I think we do. There's some hypocrisy at work going on with state governors. There's hypocrisy with Fauci in general. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on that we could probably extend this episode out. But this
is also developing too, so we can come back and maybe talk about this next week too.
Let's do it. Let's get back to it, guys. Yeah. So with that, guys, as always, we thank you guys for tuning in to Rock Podcast Nation. The greatest thing that you could do to help support us is hitting that share button.
Absolutely.
So at any point, if you're in one of the groups or you're in one of the pages, and you may not be watching the video live anymore, hit that share button, guys. Help us get this message out, because without you, there is no us.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've been looking at the analytics lately and stuff, and whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or the website itself and the SEO and all that stuff. And what we're noticing is not only is it getting more people, but there's getting more shares. And there is a correlation there. So we really need you to help us out and get those shares out there.
That's right, guys. And with that, we're out.
Stay strapped, get clapped.
Booyah.